Ciao everyone and welcome back to the analysis of the summer songs 2026. Today we're going to talk about another tormentone estivo of this year, so freshly made kind of sort of, if I remember correctly, was released around June. And I am talking about White Girl Wasted by Anna or Anna Pepe. We already saw one of her songs, I think only one, which was 30 gradi. And I decided to pick this, first of all, because this song has been in the top, at least for YouTube, but I also think in radios and whatnot, for at least, well, since it was released, more or less. So now I decided to pick this because, of course, it is very popular, like many of the songs made by Anna, and also because it can give a good point of view concerning one of the points I often bring up, which is how personal can be the experience of your own culture. What I mean with this is that the way I'm going to tell you about my culture, so what for me is like my experience as an Italian person, is going to be very different from other people, like from other people experiences of being Italian people. Okay. This is a good example because generally, mainly with Sanremo, we see, of course, many artists who are very centered on using Italian or even dialect. This is also because in Sanremo Music Festival, we said it several times, you are required to have a lyrics in Italian, okay? Of course, there can be loan words from English or other languages, as we saw, but the lyrics have to be mainly, like the focus has to be Italian. This is a good example because Anna often mixes languages. So, of course, English and Spanish mainly, but last year, for example, also French, because Anna, despite being fully Italian, is trying to sing and produce songs in a very US pop rap way, hip hop. And it's not me saying this, it's her who confirmed that. In fact, this song not only has the title in English and not only has a lot of not only loan words but entire phrases in English, but it also comes from an album to which this song belongs to, which has its title in English. I'm talking about Million Dollar Babe. In fact, this album is the most recent and the second made by Anna Pepe, and White Girl Wasted is one of her main songs, or at least one of the songs of this album. This one specifically was made for the summer. In fact, Anna herself said, White Girl Wasted is a song I would love to hear when I go into a club to have fun with friends. It's pure energy, the desire to let go, to have fun, to be yourself. I hope it can make people feel good and give them the right energy. So, of course, you can go clubbing the whole year, but mainly during summer, clubbing is more common because you have summer vacations and whatnot. So you might tell me, but Sylvia, I don't get it. Like, why taking a song where you have so much English, so many references to other languages? Well, of course, because I'm going to tell you also what the Italian version would be and why not always, like, certain things do not work in Italian while they work in English, vice versa, and this comparison can be made among several languages. Of course, as I was saying, Anna in all her songs brings a lot of references, like he's hinting heavily towards US culture. So you are having this mix where she's trying to inspire herself with the sort of music made very often in the US, but with a sprinkle of Italy. Also, mainly this song specifically, one might say it is very 2000, okay? And you can also notice it in the video. And also, it is very EDM because, as we were saying, it is made specifically for the club. Another reason why I also picked this is, well, to piss off people, because I love doing that every now and then. It's good for my health, because you have to know that Anna, despite being one, if not the most popular Italian singer in Italy since a couple of years, it is also one of the most hated for no real reasons, because I wanted to show you that just like in 30 gradi, this song, it's about her and what she would like to do, and nothing crazy, like it's literally sort of vibe of girls just wanna have fun, and like it is incredible. Anyway, back to the title. Well, of course, I'm not going to translate it in English because, as we said, as you might have noticed, the title is already in English. White girl wasted. And what does it mean? Well, I have to look it up because I have to be honest. I am not, how can I say, I am not very cultured in certain US slang. I kind of know it, but of course I am missing references because, well, hip hop is not among my main interests. So I know it exists, but I'm not very cultured concerning that. So today I learn, not today when I did the research for the video, of course, but still, that white girl wasted is a common American slang term. Also, US friends, you can correct me on that. It is just what I found on on the internet. And of course, as I was saying, it is popularized in the US. Allegedly, college culture, memes, and rap songs like Plies White Girl. In fact, this is not the first song titled White Girl Wasted. It is a reference to the concept. What is the concept? It is said, allegedly, again, according to what I found on the internet, that is used to describe someone getting intoxicated, so drinking a lot, getting drunk, at a party so much that they lose all composure and act wild and chaotic. So, generally, drunk, we have certain terms which we could use in Italy, but of course we don't have the exact equivalent of this expression. So, for example, we have drunk. Okay, drunk would be ubriaco or ubriaca. Then you have all the colloquial form like brillo or brilla, but still, brilla or brillo is a little bit less than drunk. It's like when you are happy-ish, you are starting to feel the alcohol. And then you have wasted. So when you are like completely gone, you definitely drunk, you are this close to blackout. And in Italian, it would be sbronzo or sbronza. You could also use expressions such as ubriaco fradicio or ubriaco perso, which literally means like fradicio is when you are like wet to the bones, okay, when you are soaking wet, while perso is lost. So you could translate literally this expression as soaking wet drunk and lost drunk. That said, the whole point of this I think I have to explicit it for people from the US, because I know it is something that is often asked to Italian people, and just like me, many of us don't really know what to answer. So, white girl wasted in this case is not referring specifically to the skin tone of Anna, okay? It is used to describe this acting wild and in a chaotic way. It's not related on your appearance or your ethnicity, okay? I am saying this because I know there are some US people watching my videos, and I know that on the internet, but also in person, a question often asked to Italians, and not only Italians, to people in general, from US people is what is your race? Or better, like, are Italians white? Are Italians black? Like, I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know, okay? Because in Europe, it is not something very asked. So you generally ask, where do you come from? But not really concerning your, of course, also your ethnicity, but it's more geographically in a certain way. In fact, where do you come from? Very often, it doesn't only limit to your country, okay, or your culture, your mother culture. It can also be your region or your town, okay? In Italy, it's very common to ask someone else, mainly when speaking to other Italians, where do you come from? As in, what city are you from? Okay, because for us, belonging to specific cities or regions, it is very important. Considering the ethnicity, if it would be considered white or black in or like Latino in US culture, I honestly don't never really understood what are the parameters according to US people. The thing that generally I answered is again geographical, because I say Mediterranean, because just like Greece, Spain, or I don't know, Turkey, or I don't know, Algeria, Morocco, any country from the Mediterranean Sea, we are Mediterranean. So, like, this is what usually I answer, or simply Italian, but apparently this is not a good answer enough, but I don't know how else to answer. But I just wanted to point this out. In this case, it is not white girl as in ethnicity related. It is related to the expression pointing at a wild and chaotic behavior. So it's about the behavior more than the ethnicity. And I'm sorry, I'm not able to answer your question, but like this is what I have. That said, we can check the lyrics. Very, very easy. Verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, outro, and the chorus is always the same. Also, each part is quite simple because the whole point is not the lyrics here, is more the fact that it is danceable. So, io non resto a casa a piangere, siamo sempre outside. Domenica mattina sto come Frankenstein. Hai portato una bottiglia, ma dimmi dónde estás? Mi sento Miley Cyrus perché we can stop. Yeah. As you might have noticed, is a noticeable mix of languages in here. So let's start from the beginning. I don't stay home and cry. We are always outside. Literally in Italian would be siamo sempre fuori. Why? Because we are hanging out. Stiamo usciamo sempre. Okay, we're always hanging out. And in fact, the consequence of this is that on Sunday morning, because in Italy generally you go out on the Friday night or Saturday night, I'm like Frankenstein, so like I'm completely gone. I'm completely like fucked up because I went partying, I went clubbing. until late, the day before, the night before. You brought a bottle, but tell me where it is. I feel like Miley Cyrus because we can stop, yeah. So, the mix here. Hai portato una bottiglia, you brought a bottle, ma dimmi dónde estás. Ok, ¿dónde estás? It is Spanish. I get it. Sometimes Spanish and Italian are not that easy to tell apart, mainly if you are not used to it. But, ma dimmi, but tell me, okay, you tell me, ¿dónde estás? Where it is, like the bottle. Why not using the Italian ma dimmi dov'è? Because in Italian, if you had to say everything in Italian, would be ma dimmi dov'è la bottiglia implied. Why the Spanish? Because she had to rhyme, and in fact, if she said ma dimmi dov'è mi sento Miley Cyrus perché we can stop, doesn't work. But if we say ma dimmi dónde estás mi sento Miley Cyrus perché we can stop, of course the rhyme is not perfect, but the metric it fits much more. And then specifically we have a reference to Miley Cyrus, to a song by Miley Cyrus. I'm talking about the hit single released in 2013, We Can Stop, which is one of the most popular songs in the 2010s US party culture, because he speaks about, like, he tells the story of wild nights, partying and whatnot. So it is to reinforce the concept that is being stated here, because in this song is about clubbing, is about partying. And of course here there wasn't the point of saying this in Italian, because you can say perché non ci fermiamo, perché siamo inarrestabili, perché non ci possiamo fermare. You have many ways to say that. The whole point was to quote the song by Miley Cyrus for the reference. That's why I'm saying Anna is heavily referencing in her songs, maybe not all of them, but good portion of them, US pop culture. Which again, careful to only listen to one artist, because if you were to listen only to Anna, you might think that this is very common in Italy. This is actually not, and in fact she is very hated, and she is considered quite trashy for the type of music she makes. So be careful. I don't think she's trashy, and I think that if she's having so much success, we should ask ourselves how comes she's so popular among the Gen Z. Many people don't even ask themselves the question, they just criticize her and label her as trashy, and so labeling as trashy anyone listening to her songs. Anyway, then we have the chorus, which is going to be repeated after exactly the same. And again, we have a lot of English once again. Why? Because we have lasciami stare, sono white girl wasted. Stasera la tua lei diventa la mia baby. Non mi so comportare da lady. Dentro il club vado hard, turn the speakers up. And then again, she repeats basically the first part of the chorus with the difference. Where is the difference? Lasciami stare, sono white girl wasted, stasera la tua lei diventa la mia baby. And then we have this third line, which changes from non mi so comportare da lady into won't you stay with me. And then again, dentro il club vado hard, turn the speakers up. Now, for the translation, leave me alone, I'm white girl wasted. Tonight your girl becomes my baby. I don't know how to behave like a lady. Inside the club I go hard, turn the speakers up. And then again, leave me alone, I'm white girl wasted. Tonight your girl becomes my baby. And then we have the change. Of course, this is already in English. Oh, won't you stay with me? Inside the club, I go hard, turns the speakers up. Now, How would you say these things in Italian, and why isn't she saying them in Italian? So, for baby, here for the metrics, we have amore, tesoro, and whatnot, but it doesn't fit a lot. You will see if you're watching media dubbed in Italian that often what in English, mainly US English, is being in the original version baby, is being translated as piccola, which is like literally small feminine, which could be the literal translation of baby, okay? But to be fair, I never heard a real Italian person using piccola to refer to their significant other female. So and if it would happen, I would cringe a bit, not gonna lie. So let's tag this as something that happens only in dubbing, and we take it as a loan word and we keep it as it is, but non mi so comportare da lady. I don't know how to behave like a lady, because of course there was the need to rhyme with baby. How would it how would it be in Italian? Non mi so comportare da signorina. Signorina would be Mrs. So a young woman who's not married yet. Why this? Because in Italian there is this expression about act properly, act politely, act like a little lady, I act like a lady, ok? Comportati da signorina. Of course, this is a bit sexist because certain behaviors are allowed to men, not to women, and it happened to me as a child as well, where mainly my friends who were boys, my male friends, were being allowed to do things that I could not, and every time like, oh, you can't swear, you can't say bad words, like act like a lady, behave like a lady, or like, no, you can't scream, no, you can't do that, act like a lady. And here she's like, no, I am going to the club and I'm going wild. I do not how to behave like a lady. And in fact, what drives me crazy is that despite all the insults, despite the fact that the lyrics are not very deep because are clubbing lyrics, they are still deeper than many songs that I've seen recently, because at least this is clearly stating, I don't care that you would like to impose on me a certain behavior just because I am a woman. I want to go out and have fun, and I'm gonna do it. And I think that the real reason why many people are hating on her is because she's simply doing whatever she wants, by the way, without hurting others so far. I don't know if while I'm recording and publishing this video, she's going to stab puppies, but so far, as far as I know, she's just making her songs, doing her things, and that's it. And still, people are hating much more on her than some of her male colleagues who did much worse than wanting to go clubbing, and that's it. Then we have dentro il club vado hard, inside the club I go hard. Here it is a transposition of the English syntax. Because in Italian you can say vado forte. Is not an expression that I hear very often, but according to the context, it could be I'm good at doing something, ok? Tipo vado forte in matematica, I'm good at math. However, if we take the syntax in English, I go hard, in this situation, it would be I go wild, okay? This transposition does not work in Italian, so here we have a loan syntax where when we say dentro il club, vado hard, it is inside the club I go hard as in I go wild, right? it wouldn't work with the literal translation in Italian. And then turn the speakers up. Why not in Italian? Because first of all, it would be very long, because literally it would be alza il volume degli altoparlanti. And just by saying this, I'm cringing myself. So you can say alza il volume and so on, but it doesn't hit as the English turns the speakers up, to be fair. So I understand the choice. And then, of course, we have here, oh, won't you stay with me, which I think is another reference to other famous songs where you have basically this exact same line. Won't you stay with me would be perché non vuoi stare con me, perché non stai con me, if we mean it as an invite. It wouldn't work because, again, the reference is to the US English pop culture. And then, after the chorus, there is a post-chorus where turn the speakers up is repeated. However, since it is an EDM song made for clubbing, the post-chorus is mainly instrumental, so there isn't much to say concerning the lyrics. And then we have another brief verse. Dice che le serve aria, lei si chiama Dalia, fa la sdolcinata, quasi mi viene una caria. Il suo tipo è un Latin lover, baby c'è, per carità, ti sei fidanzata col primo scemo che capita. Here, one of the reason I also picked this song is because there are some interesting things, despite people criticizing Anna's lyrics so hard. But in my opinion, there are some interesting parts, some interesting details. So, she says she needs air. So we have this situation where she is clubbing and she sees this girl whose name is Dalia. And in fact, she says her name is Dalia and she is going out to take a breather, to take a break. She acts corny. I almost get a cavity. And you might think, but Silvia, corny, cavity, I don't really get it. Well, because essere sdolcinato, or in this case feminine sdolcinata in Italia, means to be corny, but literally it means to be overly sweet. Literally, because dolce is sweet. So it is so sweet, I almost get a cavity. It is a play on word, on the metaphor, on the expression. And then il suo tipo è un Latin lover. Again, Latin lover, another loan word. If I had to translate it in Italian, it wouldn't be a compliment. I don't think we really have something like Latin lover, mainly maybe saying he's a Don Giovanni, something like that. But what is usually used is much vulgar in Italian, so let's keep Latin lover. So literally would be her type. Here I mistyped. Her type, so she's speaking about this girl, this Dalia. So her type is a Latin lover. In this case, however, is not only type, is also boyfriend. In colloquial Italian is not very elegant, by the way, but you can say il tipo, la tipa to say the boyfriend and girlfriend. Again, is not very elegant, and I personally don't like being called la tipa di qualcuno, so because it is girlfriend or il tipo boyfriend, but it is not very respectful, okay? It's not really derogative because it's not an insult. However, if you are talking about il tipo, la tipa, it's not that you are having a lot of respect for this boyfriend or this girlfriend. And in fact, after that, she says, baby, I mean, for goodness sake, you got together. So you got together with the guy. with the first idiot that comes along. That's why I'm saying it's not a compliment. And if you want to talk about someone's boyfriend or girlfriend, do not use il tipo, la tipa. Because in this case, as you can see, she calls him the first idiot that comes along, il primo scemo che capita or il primo scemo che passa, which are both expressions in Italian. What I find interesting is that there is c'è. C'è is an interjection that you might hear mainly in the colloquial speaking in certain regions, okay? For example, in my region or in Liguria as well, where or Lombardia, because Anna is from Liguria, but she lives in Milan, I think now. Anyway, c'è is the abbreviation of cioè, which is there is. Cioè it is used when you want to explain, to clarify something. So in this case, however, it is used as how can I say, as an interjection, as I was saying. And it's a little bit the reason why when I speak, I say a lot like, I mean, because in Italian I would often use c'è instead of I mean, like, and whatnot. I use the substitution for my interjections in English to transpose what my brain is used to when I speak in Italian. Anyway, per carità is quite literally for goodness sake. Carità is mercy. In this case, of course, the Lord's mercy. Okay, so that's why for goodness sake. It could also use to in expression like per carità, so like, do you want to do something? Do you want to do this thing? It's like per carità, like no way. Okay. In here, and this expression can be used in several ways. In this situation, in this context, it is like, I mean, like, not to offend, like, whatever. So it might be like, baby, I mean, whatever, but you got together with the first idiot that comes along. Probably because the scene here is that she sees this very sweet girl going out to take a breather, probably because she's not having a nice night with her boyfriend, because this guy is trying to hit on other girls. That's why he's a Latin lover, like he's a Don Giovanni. And of course, the girl is not taking it well, and she's a bit like, girl, like, whatever, but what did you expect by getting together with someone like that? Like, you deserve better. Get something better. And then ti sei fidanzata. Now, I wanted to point this out because, again, generally it's not easy to find such colloquial terms in songs we analyze, so I'm taking this opportunity to talk about it. Fidanzato, also essere fidanzato, fidanzarsi, technically means to be engaged, because my future husband is my fiancé. Yes, it's the same root you have also in French. In fact, English loaned the word from French, which is fiancé, fiancé in French, and it has the same root of fidanzato and fidanzata in Italian. However, mainly in certain regions of Italy, fidanzato and fidanzata can also mean boyfriend and girlfriend, okay? So without implying the engagement, all right? Again, I'm not a fan of this, but it is objectively very common. So what she's saying, that's why I'm not translating it as you got engaged, but you got together with the first idiot that comes along. So this guy is the boyfriend, is not the fiancé, okay? It means generally, colloquially, to be in a relationship with someone, not forcefully to be engaged, okay? But technically it should mean to be engaged. It is a little bit distortion in the colloquial version of Italian. And then we have the bridge that is leading to the second chorus, which is exactly the same. So in fact, I'm going to skip and I'm going to go directly towards the outro. A volte mi vorrei dimenticare. Prometto che non lo farò mai più. Non farmi foto se sto nel locale. C'è un'alta percentuale che sono white girl wasted. So, sometimes I would like to forget myself. Or generally I would like to forget. Okay. Yeah, it's more like sometimes I would like to forget what I did the last night or the last time I went clubbing. And in fact, then she says, I promised I'll never do again. I promised I'll never do it again. However, after she says, don't take pictures of me if I'm in the club, there is a high percentage, so it's very likely that I'm white girl wasted. So don't take pictures of me while I'm clubbing because I'm going wild. So while that then every time I would like to forget what I did, I promise that I'll never do it again, and yet I keep going to clubbing because I like it. Then, as I said, we have the chorus, which is exactly the same, and we have as a very small outro, mainly because again you have these bridges and post choruses which are highly instrumental because it's about having the drop in the EDM clubbing style. And in fact we have turn, which is repeated because it's reference to turn the speakers up, which in the background like echoed ends the last instrumental part of the song, and then she closes with E la Betty con Miles. It's the Betty with Miles. She is the Betty because one of the ways Anna refers to herself and her fans is Betty, okay? And who is Miles? Where Miles is the producer of Anna. They produce together, well, this album. I'm not sure if they produced together also the previous album, I don't remember. But apparently she's finding herself quite well, so she's continuing this collaboration, and that's why she's declaring it at the end of the song. So, as you might have noticed, despite people criticizing hardcore her lyrics, there are a couple of things that can be quite interesting to understand how it is the colloquial Italian. Now, something very important that I'm not seeing reminded very often on the internet is that just like in any other language, colloquial terms and expressions change very often according to several factors. For example, where you come from, because remember that if we come from a region or another region, it can influence a lot how we speak, the type of slang we use, and how we express ourselves colloquially. But we also have to take into consideration something that is common to many other languages, which is the generation, the age. Okay, so the type of colloquial speaking that I use as an Italian is not the same as my sister, which is 10 years younger than me. And so on and so on and so on. So, of course, what we are seeing here is mainly a Italian Gen Z type of slang, of colloquial speaking. And again, what it might be trendy and used 1 year, in a couple of years it might not be used anymore. Objectively, colloquial speaking, colloquial language changes much. Generally informal language changes much faster than the formal one, the formal language. So listening to this type of songs can be a good way to keep up with the type of slang, with the type of expressions that are being used, because the expressions that are being used nowadays are not the same being used 10 years ago, even in the same region, even in the same cultural context, even in the same age range and generation. So keep this in mind. Another thing, and then I leave the comment section to you, is the fact that just to put into perspective how much she's being hated for, as you can see, quite normal, like here she's saying that she's going wild in the club, not even specifically hinting at taking drugs or abusing alcohol, by the way, because it's not explicitly said, so you don't even have that point, and yet the amount of hate Anna is getting in Italy, it's incredible. And you might think, and you might tell me, but Silvia, I don't think it's like that bad, like what happened? Okay, little example, because I was shocked. So at certain point this year, I think, or last year, no, I think it was at the beginning of this year, Anna was invited to a meeting with Mattarella, because Mattarella sometimes meets young people from Italy who are influencing their generation, and objectively Anna is doing that. So Mattarella is not stupid, okay? He invited her, which has a very specific persona as an artist, so I think our president knew what to expect. So what happened? It happened that Anna went to this meeting with an outfit that was very much in her style, because she had like a shirt or something like that, still elegant, okay, but she has a mini skirt and very high heels, and also like pink hair, something like that. Guys, I cannot put into words things that I read about it. Putting on the side that in Italy we have much bigger issues than the color of Anna's hair, or the length of her skirts, or the height of her heels. But I am you might say, oh, but because TikTok, Instagram, like social media are like bad. No, chat, no. You have to know that my main social media that I use is LinkedIn, because I need to work. I'm doing these videos as a hobby, but for the rest of the time I need to work. So I'm using LinkedIn a lot. Now, these posts that I saw were on LinkedIn, so professionals complaining, like taking a moment to rant in an entire post on how inappropriate the dress code of Anna was, and how disrespectful she was towards Mattarella. Again, like I don't think that this is one of the main issues we should focus, given everything that is happening in Italy, mainly nowadays, but it is what it is. Just this anecdote, just to put into perspective how much hate this girl is gathering for basically just existing, okay? Because apparently having a miniskirt is a crime worse than corruption in politics. Anyway, so that said, let me know in the comments what you think about White Girl Wasted by Anna Pepe. That said, I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Grazie everyone for watching, and arrivederci.